What's up, Will and Grace fans? Season 9, episode 13. Jack finally booked an acting gig. Karen is running a sweatshop, and there is a baby shower just full of drama. What else do we expect? Don't click away.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What is up, Will and Grace fans? Happy International Women's Day. Woo! We are very, very excited to be here. I am a lucky guy today because I have my full panel back with me. I am so happy to be joined by Cristal McLaughlin, Louiza Sharamatyan, and Nakia Monet.
You did it!
I did it! I did it. I was afraid that I was going to butcher that, but I did not. I am Timothy Michael. We are very excited to be breaking down Will and Grace Season 9, Episode 13 today. And like I said, we haven't had a full panel in a while, you guys, after a little hiatus.
It was the Olympics, and then we were just so busy back and forth, so I'm so happy to be back.
I'm excited to be back too.
Yeah. I'm excited to break down this episode. What was your initial thoughts of the episode, guys?
Oh my god, it was so funny.
Of course.
Hilarious.
So funny.
No, it's always funny, but it gets funnier every episode.
But like, they are taking so many risks with all the like racial slurs here and there, but it's so needed.
Yes.
So it's like, who cares?
Yeah, right?
I thought it was very up on lingo, right?
Yes.
Like, it was very like the now. What's
The
going
writers
on.
are always on point
On
for
point.
some reason.
Right.
They're doing a lot of studying because
Right.
they're getting all the social
gotta be
media
young.
terms.
They gotta be
have
young
to
writers.
Or they either have kids and they're like talking to their kids about stuff.
Yes.
The
Something.
writers just always get it right.
That's the viewer now. You just like,
That's
you go
true.
to the child and you say, what are you watching now?
Yeah. Yeah, so let's break down the episode. So Will and Jack, we start off with Will on Michael's Instagram page. Now, what I loved about this episode is that they're bringing back Michael. That's like season 1, episode 1, like years ago, Michael. What did you guys think of this whole Instagram stalking? Has anybody ever done this?
Of course we
Yeah.
have. Deep like all the time.
I think we all Instagram stalk, even if we don't admit it.
Yes.
And thanks to Instagram, you now can like something on someone's post by accident. But I think we all do it. Like,
Yeah.
Did you know that if you like it and then you like it by accident and then you undo it really, really quickly, like it won't show? It has to be like that.
Really?
It has to be like that.
I remember one time
Really?
someone who
Yes.
shouldn't have been on my page, it was someone's girlfriend,
God.
liked a post of mine by accident. It was my ex's girlfriend, liked a post by accident, and then I seen it as a notification.
But then
So I
you
go
went
to
to
look
look.
and it was gone. I was like, oh, you're so cute. You try to like delete it, but
tried
I
it.
seen it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the like.
Yeah.
Thanks for thanks for snooping on my page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
I've done it too, so
Yeah.
sorry.
it also shows how different we are in our generations. Like Will, you know, he's like pushing 50 probably, right?
Yeah.
And like the kids are like, you know, 15, 16 years
Yes.
old. And it's real life scenarios that I have to deal with
Yes.
too. My grandmas and aunts, you know
Yes.
what I mean?
I'm always telling my mom, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, take a look at this. I was like, but don't touch
Don't
it.
That's me.
What I
touch
do
it.
now is I screenshot it and then
Same.
I can look at it as long as I want.
I show them, I'm literally like this. I will hold it for you because I have aunts who have like liked or my mom has, because
Same.
they're doing this to like zoom in.
My mom, the same
Oh
thing.
my
That's it. She was like,
God.
I go, you can't zoom in.
Yeah,
It's
just
not
like,
like
let
that.
it
Stop.
Speaking of which, we need to talk to the Instagram people and like really revamp this app
Oh,
because
there's
you
so
need
many
to be able to.
things.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I take a photo of it and that's how I zoom in on Instagram page.
Same.
That's how you do it. You have to screenshot it.
I don't
Yeah.
know, like Instagram, get on your life.
Get
Come
on.
on,
And
come
can
on.
you, Instagram, please, while we're on it, please fix your filters. I don't like
Well,
it. at all.
you guys want to hear something funny? So I was having a conversation the other night with my roommate, and I didn't know that when you send a message to someone and if you like delete it, like it will still show up in there.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I have been doing this for a while, not knowing.
What do you mean?
Oh,
that?
so let's say you
yes.
send an inbox message to somebody on
Okay.
Instagram, and then you decide you don't want to send it, so you delete it. It still will be in there.
It
It's
still will.
Yes.
Like sent
it just
or seen or
yes, so they'll still see it, and it's still on theirs. It won't be on yours,
But
Oh
they
my
still
God,
see it.
well,
and
that's
I did not
embarrassing.
know
Yeah,
that.
it's like an
and my
email.
roommate
Just
was
because you delete it on your side doesn't
Right.
mean.
Yes.
Social
So my
media
roo-
is scary, man.
Right. So my roommate and I were having a good laugh about that.
I mean,
Yeah, it's always
I
like-
even get scared of like DMing a picture to someone of that person that you don't want
Yeah.
to, you know you're on their page because
Yeah.
you never know. What if you accidentally send it to them or like,
Yeah.
if, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Snapchat has made us all paranoid about that stuff because Snapchat lets you know everything. Like they
And-
replayed your video. Oh, they snapped your photo.
Yes.
Right? Thank you, Steven, our wonderful engineer, for that sound effect. 'Cause it gets real, you
You
guys.
can see people's locations now via Snapchat. Like Like,
True.
it's
That's
super
dangerous.
real.
I don't go that into it.
I mean, it's crazy. Well, I mean, we could sit here and talk
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
Instagram and Snapchat
Yeah.
and social media all day because, hello, we're hosting in Los Angeles. But let's move on. So Grace is invited to Ellen's baby shower. And I'm glad that they reintroduced Ellen because I don't know if you guys remember Ellen and Tom when they used to do charades in the older seasons.
Yes.
And I didn't know who Ellen was at first until they showed her at the baby shower. Did you guys
Right.
know who she was?
No.
No.
Right, I kind of forgot about her.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so I'm obviously Grace doesn't want to go to this baby shower because she is afraid that they judge her. Which is what if I was a woman and I didn't have kids and I was invited to a baby shower, I'd feel the same way.
Even now,
We all feel
feel
this way,
judged right now.
and especially
Yeah.
if you're at a certain age. I know, like
Yes.
when we go back home, or if we're invited to a friend's party, the first thought in our mind is, "Oh my God, they're gonna judge me because they see I'm living." Because you know that happens.
single, not married.
Partying, having a good time. But then when I actually talk to them, they're like, "No, you're living the best life, and I wish we had your life." And I'm like, "Really?" Because the same fears that Grace had, I have those when I'm always invited to a baby
Same.
shower or a wedding.
Same.
Because I'm single, I'm partying, I'm having a good time, and I'm like, they're totally judging
You don't
me.
want
Yeah.
those questions to be asked of you. It's like, leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Absolutely.
I'm
When are
fine.
you gonna have a
Absolutely.
baby?
And I feel
Mind
like
your
if you get more
business.
pressure, right, when you go back home, right,
Yes.
than if you do it here in like LA, because I feel
Right.
like there's not that pressure.
Well, I still live at
like
home,
you
so
could
for me, it's like the same.
Oh, well, I feel like here, like in LA, it's like, it's okay if you're
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you don't have kids or whatever. But going back home, like everybody that I know has had kids or is getting married, you're going to these
Yeah.
baby showers and all this stuff. And it's kind of like, well, what's wrong with
Like,
you?
what are you
But
doing?
it's also cultural rules too, though,
Oh,
because
yeah.
Louisa, you're Armenian, and I
Yeah.
know that they're very like you need to get married and have kids very young.
Same.
Absolutely, there's a lot of like cultural
Oh, same.
pressures, a lot of traditions. But you know, thankfully, I feel like our generation, it's we are more educated, we're
Yeah.
more evolved, and we are trying to live our truth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why Grace is so great in this episode because she is her
Absolutely.
authentic self, and she's like, I'm happy single. You know, if I wanted to have a child, I would. But one thing is that I don't like about reboots is she did have a child when it.
Yes.
So it's,
Yeah.
that always kind of throws me off because we all know she had a child with
Yes.
Leo.
Yes.
But now we have to have her in our mind as
Yeah.
someone who never had.
They
a child.
kind of
Right.
rewrote it. I mean, we
Right.
just said at
Yeah.
the beginning of this season
Yeah.
that they were going to be doing some rewrites. It is very distracting, though. I completely
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if they planned this episode to come out on International Women's Day. Maybe they did. Maybe
It
they
was a
didn't.
great
It was a
idea.
very great coincidence if they did
Yes.
not. But it's a great idea if it was
Yeah.
deliberate. The only reason I bring that up is because I feel like society puts a lot of pressure on you guys as women.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When it comes to children and marriage, which is not fair. And I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Absolutely.
It's totally not fair because I feel like at such a young age we're taught that. I mean, when you're a little girl, your parents they buy you the baby carriage and the stupid kitchens and the dolls. And
I
for
liked
us,
the
it's
kitchen.
I liked it too. I loved it too. But I just feel like when it comes to little girls, they're actually thrown
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah.
And I remember being that little kid that I was like, I loved all that stuff, but I loved putting my baby doll down. And then as you get older, it's like, so when are you going to get married? It's like, whoa, I'm
Yeah.
16 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Calm down. And I
Yeah.
feel like for guys, it's okay for guys to be male whores
Yeah.
or playboys
Yeah.
and they can be 90 years old and still make babies. So I
course.
feel like the world puts a lot of pressure on us. That's why I love this episode because it's
Yeah.
like, you guys, like marriage and babies is not happiness for everybody.
It's not.
Though
Amen.
for some that's great, but that's not a fulfillment.
doesn't
And I love that
define
Grace
you.
said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Travel can be a
Yeah, it
fulfillment.
doesn't define you, and we shouldn't.
doesn't. Not
at all.
We shouldn't be pressured to.
Yeah.
We're
you know,
socialized
have
that way.
children.
We're brought
Yeah,
up that way, like with
absolutely.
the Barbie dolls and the kitchen gear and all of that. But you know what? It takes a very, very strong person to really live, her truth because then you're taking down the barriers of the cultural pressures that we
Yes.
have, and
Yes.
this is going to be a great year for everyone.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
moving forward,
And
this
I,
for women.
and I want to also mention too, we're not like bashing on people who do
No,
have
no, no.
children
Not at
and who
all.
have
I
the
hate you all.
marriage or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but like let us breathe. Let us
Yeah.
live our lives and be who we want to be and not judge us.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, Crystal, because I need to ask you guys,
Yeah.
as women in company of other women who do have children, when you don't have a child, and you said, we don't judge you guys for wanting to have children. Do you feel like that same respect is not
No.
recuperated?
No.
Okay.
We don't. And I don't think they intentionally mean to do it because, before they were in our shoes, they didn't have the kids and they were living their best lives. But I do think some women, not intentionally, when they get married and they have their kids, they live a different life. Motherhood is a full-time
Yeah.
job, man.
Yeah.
I give it to any mother
Yes.
and there's people who raise their kids because it's a lot.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that they look at it like, oh, we respect you for not. I think they're just like, what are you doing with your life? We have kids. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah.
And we're just like,
I
whoa.
also feel like what I get a lot from my friends who have children, sorry friends that of mine, is like, oh, they always do a little shade of like, well, you don't understand, you don't have kids. And it's like, well, I have
always get that.
nephews, you know, and I'm not saying it's the same thing by any means, but like, I have an idea, you know, I understand that that's a full-time job for the rest of your life, and I get it, but like, they almost say it in a like a resentful type of way.
Or condescending.
Well, also because a
Condescending
lot
way.
of times I feel like they have children when they're not ready. They're indeed children
Absolutely.
themselves.
Because they
They
feel
rush.
pressure
It's
from
family.
They feel the
Society as
pressure,
well.
and they love it, and they love their kids. But I think the
course.
pressure
No.
gets to them, and they look at their
Yes.
friends without the kids, and they're
Yes.
just like. It just made me think of like an episode of like Sex and the City. Same exact thing when they go to the baby shower. So I think women, even though they're happy that they have these kids, but sometimes I think they look at the women without the kids like, okay.
And plus, I think age is a huge factor. So
Yeah,
they're like
of
trying to hurry up and have
Oh
these
yeah,
children.
we've talked about this,
Yes,
like, you know, being
absolutely.
fertile or being infertile, all of that.
Yeah.
Hey, I
it's
will
hard.
adopt if I ever, you know, decide to have children. I probably would adopt. I just had this conversation with my mom yesterday, which is really weird, but I've always wanted to. So there's nothing for me. It's like either if I have one or if I don't. Like I'm gonna.
That's how
you
my
know,
mom
have
always
someone to
says.
love.
leave that option.
She's like, I know
open.
you're not gonna have any kids. Because as a kid, I used to be like, I never wanted
So
kids.
you already know.
I already know. I always but the thing that I do get that's annoying to me is you'll change your mind.
They always say that.
No, I won't.
The right man will come
man.
Well,
along.
it's funny
You will,
because like
girl.
you guys think as women you get this pressure, but as a gay man I also get this pressure.
Really?
Especially being in a committed relationship, like you get this all the time. Oh, you're getting married. Oh, great. When are you gonna have kids? When are you gonna get a house? Are you guys gonna adopt? No, I don't want children. Oh, you'll change your mind. You're so young.
Like some people just want to be married and enjoy each other and
What about
live
a
their
dog,
lives.
you know?
I have a dog, and I say that that's my child, and then they say the same thing. Well, that's
Right.
not the same
The
thing.
world
And I'm
thinks
like,
you're sad if you don't
Yeah.
have a child or if you don't have a partner. But
crazy.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just like Will in the episode. Some people are happy being single,
Yeah.
some are sad.
Yeah.
It's what you
Absolutely.
want.
Live your
I
best
think,
life.
I
Live
think
your
the
best
biggest
life.
picture,
girl.
especially on International Women's Day, is I think women should just support each other and everybody should
Yes,
support them.
Absolutely.
yes.
That's why this was a great episode.
Moving on.
Yes, let's move on because I do need to talk about Karen and Jack a little bit because we opened up with the scene with Karen and we kind of had some critiques. I know you, Crystal and Louisa weren't here last episode, but we got some we gave some slack to Karen's character because they always like throw her in when it's really not necessary.
Yeah.
And I feel like in this episode they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I feel like in this episode they kind of did a little bit more character building with her because she's on the phone with Stan and they're having like this
Phone
phone
sex.
sex,
Cold
porn
cuts.
kind of thing
Cold
going on. I have to ask you guys, have you ever done the whole phone sex thing?
Not food.
No.
Not food?
I love food,
food.
and I call food like food porn, but I've never done phone sex.
That's
Okay.
weird.
Weird.
No, that
Yeah.
does not get me
That's
off or
different.
anything like
Yeah.
that.
But now because I'm such a foodie, I'm like, maybe I should try that.
Don't knock it until you try
I'm
it.
just saying.
She's like mac and cheese,
I,
baby.
I respect everyone's
cheese is
sexuality, but that's just not my
Yeah.
thing.
Sexy. I'm a little wet right now.
I watch food videos. Like if I'm eating healthy, I literally will have my salad in front of my computer and I'm eating like someone cooking mac and cheese slowly. I'm weird.
You are
That does
so
not do it for me.
I mean, it's funny because you brought that up, Nakia, because there's a lot of videos out there about like the YouTube videos that are going viral about people watching people eat.
Yeah.
You guys have seen these,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't get it. It's not
Like I
a-
can't watch you eat. I just want to see the food, but I don't want
They like
it
the
in your
sound
mouth.
of it, Louise.
Oh,
It's really
The
weird.
chewing and the
That's
It's-
everyone
please
has
don't do
their
that
own
sound. Please don't do that
fetishes.
sound.
Everyone has their own
for the
That is-
podcast people. That is so gross.
Let me
Please don't
just
do
tell
that.
you right now, the sound that I hate the most is the person chewing.
Yes.
So gross.
Yes.
Literally will turn. I could like a guy, and if he eats gross, I will never go on another date with him.
That and
it's my
gulping
pet.
water.
Oh, I hate that.
Like a camel.
This is what I hate. Like, I hate when they tap their lips like. Stop! I'm sorry. I hate that. Turns me off. I feel
Anything
disgusting.
with a mouth.
It's so gross.
Does not do it for me.
Or if they eat too fast, like I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. So Jack has
Breathe.
some really great news. He finally booked an acting
Finally,
gig.
Jack.
Yes. Applause to Jack McFarlane for booking an acting gig. Not much. He's a corpse on a TV show, but hey, we would not knock being on a corpse, right, Crystal?
Yes,
we would
that's
not.
right.
We would not knock it.
Just
That's
pay me.
right.
I'll do it.
What I
right.
loved about it is that he's doing it with J-Lo, and we kind of had, some teasers of her being in an episode. I didn't think that it was going to be this one.
No.
I'm glad that it was. But he's going to be a corpse on her show,
Yes.
Shades of Blue,
Yes.
with Ray Liotta. I love the kind of crossover tie that they had in
Yeah.
there. I thought that was pretty cool for NBC to do something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's very smart of them.
Oh,
Yes,
definitely. And bringing J-Lo in for this episode is iconic because she is someone who lives her truth.
Yes.
She's pushing 50. What is she, 60 or 50
No,
now?
60 girl. No.
Gorgeous.
Don't you age Jennifer
I'm sorry,
Lopez.
but she's my idol only because she has never cared
She's 48.
anything about what people say. She's been told a million times that she can't act, this, that, and at the end of the day, she listens to her heart. She dates whoever she wants to date. She has children.
Amen.
And
she looks
she's the queen.
good.
She's amazing. J-Lo, we love you.
And she's a Latina, so it's like,
Yes. What's interesting though is Jack, because of his acting gig, needs Karen to watch his rec kids, who we've seen before in past episodes. One, the little boy with the beautiful voice, and. How did you guys feel about Karen having to watch kids?
I thought it was hilarious.
I already knew something bad was going to happen.
Teaching them how to make martinis. I mean, that's just Karen.
My favorite part was her like flipping the pill, and then like,
the sound effect.
Yeah, the sound effect, and it going slow, and the kid just watching, so intently, and then she swallows it with her martini.
Which
she
I
takes
love.
it back with her martini.
Yes.
So, that's talent.
I knew it
right
wasn't
there.
going to be a good thing, but I love when she's like, where am I going to find little tiny hands to... I'm like, oh my God, she's going to make a sweatshop with the babies and the bag. But we already know Karen. Karen is not the motherly type.
No.
I was like, she's going to be me in 20 years.
She's looking for Adderall, right?
Come on.
Come on.
Yes. I mean, even like the Anne Frank comment, like taking it there, it's hilarious.
I thought that was really clever because Jack said they have to rehearse for this musical Annie, and she interpreted it as Anne Frank. I thought that was brilliant.
And she puts them in the room. I'm like,
oh my
Jesus,
God, that's
Karen.
terrible.
Karen is me. That's the type of babysitter I'd probably be in 20 years.
My kids are not.
Give me your Adderall. They'll be saved. I'll just take their Adderall. It's fine.
On the flip end of that, Will and Grace are kind of struggling because they're going to this baby shower, and Will thinks that it's a good idea to impart these words of wisdom to Grace about taking her thoughts, writing them on pieces of paper, and crumpling them and putting in her pocket. It's like a Truman family tradition of how to like keep your feelings inside.
Yeah.
And they go to this baby shower. And so Grace is dealing with all the women judging her, and Will comes across Brianna and Ilana, who are these like, I don't even, Gen X kids?
Gen X. They're
not even millennials. No, they're like 16 years old.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about his relationship with these Gen X kids?
So funny.
I loved it.
Funny.
He was desperate for answers.
Yes.
About Michael.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kia was saying
they remind me of like baby Will and Grace's because one had like the bright red hair and the one with the dark hair was like angry and she's like, stop talking. It's literally how Will talks to Grace.
So aggressive.
That's why I was like, wait, this is like Will and Grace.
Yes.
But little girl version.
Oh yeah, and they were always on their phone looking down, and it's like, it's so true, and that we're even guilty of that, but like that's what's happening now.
So funny, but they gave such great advice to Will, right, about the whole situation and teaching him about what breadcrumbing, right? When you want to flirt with somebody, to keep the power, right? You leave the crumb out and you let the bunny come over and pick up the crumb, right?
I was gonna say, like, I love the intermixing of like old school versus like new school, where Will and Grace, this is why I like the writers, because they're super smart and they know that they have a new audience as well as the old audience watching. So I thought it's dope to incorporate like two young Gen X girls teaching Will about what's going on in social media and having someone, he's not old, but having someone older like, wait, what is breadcrumbing? And so I thought that was really clever and smart.
That they were also dealing with their own issues with networking too, with their dating lives.
Brianna.
So funny.
I did not like it.
Oh my gosh. I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yes.
So
the last
funny.
2 episodes have been on point.
Hilarious. I think we've been cracking up. Like, I laugh at every episode, but this one, it's like I laughed every single punchline on every pun.
I mean, it's very hard to get, like, to not like something in these episodes, so you have to get really nitpicky about it, but who wants to get nitpicky? It's Will and Grace.
Exactly.
I mean, they make it so relevant. Like, even Jack walking in and saying, Tanya Harding, you know what I mean? Like, the Oscars just happened. Like, you know what I mean? I love it.
Yes, they make it very relevant and very current, which I do love. Kudos to the writers.
The writers are on point.
What I loved about I guess, if we're gonna get nitpicky, the only criticism that I have for the J-Lo scene would be that it was too small.
Yes.
It was.
I was wondering, I wonder if that's a schedule thing for her or a work schedule, because she even had the shades of blue hair. So I wonder if NBC was like, if we are going to incorporate her, she is kind of at work, but it was way too short. And I wanted to see more J-Lo, more interaction.
Yeah, I think though it was kind of cool that they didn't write her in like as a friend, but as like somebody that he was working with. It was a different viewpoint to see her that way. Right?
Yeah.
And then I also liked what she said when Jack was messing up the scenes over and over and over again, when she said, "This is how you do it, jackass," and then he says, "Oh, she knows my name." Right? So funny, and like I like that the writers did that because it's so sneaky the way they brought that in.
But it's quintessential Jack. Like, Jack would never hint on the insult. He would just go to the compliment. I think that's a rule of thumb that we should all have, you guys. Is never go for the insult. Always look at it as a compliment.
I like that. I think I'm going to start doing that. And then carry my selfie stick with me. So if I am on
that was amazing.
With J-Lo.
That part was golden.
So funny, right?
Will and Grace, what I loved about that entire scene is that there's like this juxtaposition of Grace dealing with her and her womanhood, and Will dealing with him and his manhood, essentially. Yes. Because Grace is feeling judged by all these women, and then Will is here kind of judging himself, and not being able to sustain a functioning relationship at his age. Yeah. Have you guys ever felt this pressure? Because we've already talked about Grace's kind of, you know, societal pressures of women, but have you ever felt a pressure to stay in a relationship or to get into a relationship because you're single?
Used to.
Yes. I've definitely felt it where you feel the pressure where you're single, where say you're dating someone, they're usually not your type, but you're like, oh, let me just give it a chance anyway. But because you feel the pressure, you like either go on more dates with this person, you want to date them even more, even though you really don't like this person. And I think that comes from the pressure of society. Because you're like, damn, I'm at this age and I'm still single. Even though you enjoy being single, you just don't want to hear the talks from your family and your friends. So I definitely have felt that before.
I definitely feel exactly what you're feeling as well. Like, I'll sometimes go on dates with people, I'm very guilty of this, who maybe like have a great, you know, resume. Oh, they're a great guy, they have a good family, you know, all these things that I would love to have. Good on paper. But then I hang out with them and I'm like, my roommate always knows because I always go, he says, how was the date? And I'm like, oh, he was nice. He's like, oh, that bad, huh?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, no, you know, and I'll try to find something.
Exactly.
And then I'll go on another date with them. And by the second date, I'm already like, no, like, you know, it doesn't work. But I definitely feel that pressure, right?
You force it because you're like, well, I'm single. Let me just give this a chance.
Yeah.
But you know deep down inside, like, I don't even like this person.
You know.
And how happy do you feel when you end it? You're like,
so relieved.
Like, I don't have to deal with that anymore. No more weird morning texts. Like, leave me alone. But no, absolutely. I relate with both of you. I felt the pressure. Sometimes I feel it, but thank God not as much anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
As you grow older and as a woman, you experience certain things.
Or a man.
Or a
man.
man. You build that confidence just to say no and be true to you and your soul. And it's truly such a beautiful, calming feeling.
It is.
When you just don't give up.
Especially when you get older, you definitely don't give up.
That's true. Thank you, Louisa, for those sound effects.
Thank you for being our censor.
Now, you guys, it wouldn't be Will and Grace if something bad didn't happen. And I don't even say bad. Maybe that's the wrong choice of words. But it wouldn't be Will and Grace if drama didn't happen.
Something crazy dramatic.
Right. So the entire time that Grace is at this baby shower, she's been taking all these notes when people piss her off. Which I was like, I think I'm going to start doing that too.
Doing that.
But then I would be worried that I would lose them too because I'm that person that would lose these notes.
Put in the notes.
She was like the school principal. Like,
and don't put your name in it.
Don't ever put your name in it, guys. That if you're writing something down, don't ever give it away. Who actually is writing this if you're talking shit? It's like a burn book.
Yeah.
Don't let people know that you're writing the burn book.
Writes now. Everything's in your phone digital.
True. You're right.
My handwriting is suffering now because of that. I never write. Look at this.
I think handwriting and spelling.
Everything is
dyslexic, right?
Yes. So of course she loses these notes.
Of course.
And they somehow, well, we knew how, but they end up in the. What? Has anybody ever been to a baby shower, by the way?
Oh yeah.
I have.
I'm Armenian. We have one once
every 2 weeks. That's true. Do you do the whole bowl with the thought?
Some baby showers do that.
Some. It depends.
But it's not unheard of, right?
It's not.
We do that more for bridal showers where friends and family write advice for like newlyweds. But
but for
baby showers, I've seen a book like Thoughts for the Baby or like stupid sorry.
It always changes.
Stupid words for babies. No.
Trends are always changing. So
because of Pinterest, there's so many different new ideas for baby showers.
Yes.
But I've been to a few where they do that jar or they do a book like write a note for the baby, and I'm like,
gotta keep up.
But I've never gone to one where you like go in, you dip in, and then you read it, and then you try to guess who the person is.
No, the parents do it at home. Like I've never.
That is so cheesy. Like, of course, everyone's gonna say something good about your grow up and be healthy.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up because it's not what happened in this episode. Because Grace's notes are not very nice, and it obviously comes to a head because when Ellen starts reading all of these notes, I thought it was kind of brilliant that Grace was able to pivot so fast.
Right.
Because if I was in that situation, I probably would have just left.
I would have left. That's why I'm shocked. I would have been like, Will, we need to go right now before they read these notes.
Yes.
ASAP.
Well, I kept thinking, why didn't she just grab the bowl and be like, well, let me read them. And then she could I kept thinking that the entire time. Like, why didn't she grab it?
But then the moral of the episode wouldn't come alive.
No, but I mean, realistically.
But in real life.
Realistically, I'm like, I got you, girl. I'll read these. And then literally would have been like, oh.
I haven't done anything all day. Let me help.
But Crystal, if I'm ever in a damn
I'm calling you.
issue,
We're calling you.
Because you're fast on your feet. I'd be like,
I'm not.
I need to go.
But you're like, we gotta go.
Let's go.
We're like, let them read the notes. We gotta go. Let's go. What I liked about the whole pivot, though, is that Grace had this really awesome message, and I want to throw it to you guys to talk about it because it was all about fulfillment and how you don't necessarily need to have a child to be fulfilled. And we kind of touched it here and there throughout the entire episode of ours, but how did you guys feel about that whole monologue from Grace?
I thought it was great. I mean, I think she pretty much got her thoughts across, right, with her friends and the people she didn't know there. And she's letting them know how she feels, but then they're also giving back to her as well and saying, hey, you know, this is how you make me feel. Right. You know, and she was so unaware of that. She was like so surprised when they brought that up, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it was like such a beautiful moment because she learned something, they learned something, and then they like finally, you know, remedied it.
It was very relatable, and not even for the like having a baby aspect. You know, the other girl said, I have my master's degree and I'm making slime in the kitchen, which means like I don't have my stuff together. Like I don't have a job with a grad school degree. So once you tell the truth and put down that wall, everyone does it too. It's just, you make it a safe zone.
I think what the problem is that everybody tries to look better than how they are.
Oh, that's
you know
a
what
fact.
I mean? Everybody's like, oh, I want you to think that my life is completely put together. And so one person's like, I'm a mess. And everybody's like, I'm a mess.
I'm a mess.
We were just talking I
thought it was a beautiful message to like put out there, especially on TV for both parties. I think it was a beautiful message to tell young men and women, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay if you don't have your shit together. Like, it's fine. Like, this may not make you happy, but this may make the other person happy.
Yes.
So I thought it was a really beautiful message, especially on International Women's Day, to let women know,
absolutely,
guys, it's okay. You don't have to rush to do X, Y, and Z. And to let the other side know, it's okay that you have kids. You're happy. Live your life, and don't let anyone tell you that you're a horrible person because you had kids.
Yeah, happiness is not defined by like you know, by a group of people. It's defined by yourself, your individual self.
You are the judge, and like we all can agree on, we know tons of women who are just born to be mothers. They're so maternal and they love it. And praise to them. But if you're not, then you're not. Own it. Own it.
I'm a great babysitter though.
There you go.
There you go. And you know that.
I know that I'm a great. I would never give alcohol to kids, but I'm a great I'm a cool aunt.
Okay.
Me too. I'm a cool aunt.
I'm a cool aunt. I'm a cool mom. Like
you guys can be the cool aunts. Me and Chris are sitting there like, don't let us watch your kids. Hide your kids.
Hide your babies. Hide your kids.
What I liked about that whole thing with Grace is that she learned something about herself, but then of course it's called Will and Grace. So then Will has been battling with this whole idea of Michael and just being kind of haunted from that whole past relationship. And Will realizes that he's not as happy as he wants to be. So he reaches out to Michael. Was anybody surprised that he did? Was anybody not wanting him to or wanting him to reach out to Michael?
Why not? You know?
Yeah.
He needs closure.
Carpe
probably.
diem.
Yeah.
Or closure.
I don't think it's closure.
No?
I don't think it's closure because he's had closure. It's been years.
Yeah, I think he's really like he wants to explore this. So I look at it like this. Carpe diem, life is too short. If this is someone that you are still thinking about, just take a chance. And the worst thing can happen is he's going to say no, and then we move on.
And then you close that book.
Because you don't want to say what if.
Yes.
So I'm actually happy that he did reach out.
But do you ever get afraid, though? Like, let's say you do reach out to somebody, and then, like, well, because obviously they were going back and forth, right? He was leaving the breadcrumbs. So do you ever get afraid that maybe that person that you're reaching out to is maybe like reeling you in, but they're not full-heartedly going into it for the right reasons.
All the time.
You know, I always feel like, you know, that's all I kept thinking about when he was doing that. I was like hoping that he wasn't doing that to Will. You know, I hope that when we do watch the next episode, there is something that comes to light. You know, something great, right? And that it doesn't end up being, you know.
I mean, you never know what the other person's intentions are. He might, you know, be looking for a rebound or just bored, or like his Instagram situation kind of buttered him up too. So it's just like so many things.
But Will did, I think, what all of us do when you are stalking someone's Instagram, you're paying close attention to certain pictures, and you're like, if they're on a trip, like, wait, who's taking that picture of them, or who cropped that out? So I even love that they did that.
Let me ask you guys a question, and this is for everybody on the panel. Like, if let's say that Michael reached out to him and he left the breadcrumb. Why shouldn't Michael be the one to call up, you know, Will? Or why does it have to be Will? Or do you think that there should be one person that should do it more than the other person? Or like, what is your take on that?
I think sometimes, especially if you're exploring something old, I think sometimes the other person may not know. Not saying that not saying after you reach out, they're not going to like you, but sometimes because if it's an old relationship, maybe they're like, oh, I really like the person as a friend. The person may not know that you have feelings for them until you say like, hey, like, and then that's when the person's like, oh, wow, they're showing like real interest into me, but then it could be double-sided and the person may just not care.
Because I feel like when you're like on Instagram or something, right? It's not, to me, that's not really reaching out. Reaching out is like a phone call, right?
Hello. Or a DM to get your phone number.
Something. So that's, I guess that was more of my questions. Like, well, if he's just, you know, like leaving little breadcrumbs, is he really interested?
That's a good question. I'm learning that people are getting lazy now.
Yes.
And I would love for the guy or the girl to reach out, but I feel like now as a generation, we're getting so lazy and dependent on stupid social media where someone may think, oh, I liked 5 of their pictures, so they'll get the hint.
No, I want that text.
That doesn't make sense.
I want that text.
That's a really good, Crystal, that's a really good question.
I also think, though, that it's this whole element of being afraid. Like, Michael probably is afraid that Will has already moved on, and Will is sitting here going, well, I think Michael's moved on. So there's this whole like missing each other.
Lack of communication. Just reach out.
Yes,
like
and
going
it's like,
back to the Grace thing, right?
Exactly.
It was like a lack of communication.
Just be honest.
And I feel like but at the same time, like you said, carpe diem. I mean, like, life is too short. Why don't you just reach out? The worst they could say is no. And I just want to talk about that whole phone call that you guys brought up, because you're sitting here going, I want a phone call. I want a text message.
Right.
I think what I loved about how the episode ended was that Will called Michael.
Yes.
It wasn't a text. It wasn't like an Instagram message. It wasn't like a DM. It was an actual phone call.
Which I love.
Which I guess they did it for obviously TV purposes, but it speaks volumes that it was a phone call.
Such a dying art now.
Yes.
It's romantic. It's just saying like you actually care, because like I said, I just feel like our generation, older and younger, people are getting so lazy. So I'm happy that he picked up the phone and was like, hey, look, let's get over this whole Instagram thing. Hey,
like, I'm gonna be a man about it. And I'm gonna step up. It's like, ooh,
how was your day?
It was sexy.
Yes.
I loved it.
Take control.
That pretty much breaks down the episode. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on your favorite lines from the episode.
Mine would be, tap it again, Instagramma. That was Jack.
Oh, that was a good one. I like that one.
Mine would be when Jack asks Karen for a favor. He's like, can you do me a petite vanilla scone favor? A small petite. I'm going to just start saying that.
So I have 2. Mine was deep liking the pictures. I made that obvious. And then the other one was when when Karen said, I'm bringing jobs back to America with the children and the orphans. So,
Karen is crazy.
I love that. I think my favorite line was from Jack when he said, Jenny from the block me on all social media. I loved that line. I thought that was really, really funny. Yeah. You guys, what are your overall thoughts of the episode?
I thought it was a great episode.
Killing it.
Yeah.
One of my faves. Girl
Funny.
power.
Should we go into predictions?
Yeah. No, you want to?
Yeah, let's go into predictions. Yeah, let's go into predictions.
No, we don't need to know the future.
We need to know the future.
I like how it is.
I want to do some predictions to see how you guys feel about some stuff. So, predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
So here's my first question for you guys for predictions. Do we think Michael is going to make a cameo in the next or future episodes? Because there's only like 2 or 3 episodes left in the season.
That's it?
So do we think that now, because now I'm thinking like, maybe this whole thing with how the season is going to end, because we talked about it last episode, how this whole season was going to end. Do we think it's going to end with maybe Michael and Will getting together?
Yeah. Because I think at the beginning we talked about a relationship as a season finale, like a wedding, a relationship, something. I do see him making an appearance, and I do see a relationship coming.
A start, right?
A start
of a relationship.
Some movement in his personal life, so I'm down for that for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
I see it.
And maybe Jack will get
a real job,
a real job, ongoing,
acting
gig. On one of the shows that he likes.
Maybe J-Lo will give him a recommendation.
I don't think that's going to happen after this episode.
You should sign up for a face-to-face or whatever it is that you told us.
Right. Yes. And then, let's see, what about Grace? I guess Grace will finally maybe... Because like in every episode, I feel like she's sad about her being single and like where she's at in her life. Maybe she'll finally come to terms with the fact that she is happy.
Yeah. It ain't happening, girl.
I agree with you, because even after the message today, maybe she'll say, you know what? Let me focus on my designs. Let me focus on my career, and maybe the right guy might show up.
Yeah. Maybe she needs to just like accept that this is who she is, and it's okay. And it's okay. Why not? Yeah, acceptance.
I think it's funny that Will is always the one who is, supporting Grace in her relationships, and Will is always the one that's like, I'm just going to be single right now and not really relationship oriented. Yeah. And I feel like if the tables turned, I think that'd be a good twist for the show.
And then what about Karen? What do we think about Karen?
Karen is just living her best life.
Same old
She'll make up a new like martini or something. I don't know.
She needs to come out with an alcohol line.
Like, I feel like
does.
she's gonna come up with an alcohol line, but Jack's gonna take off with this amazing acting career, and then she's gonna just take over with the kids. And
But Karen doesn't need any more money, you guys.
at all.
She
Like,
doesn't.
no.
She's just gonna be the new teacher and.
I'd like to see
Oh,
it.
that's
I feel like Jack's gonna leave and get like a new acting gig, and he's gonna be like, Karen,
love that.
I leave the children to you.
I would love
Something
that.
unexpected. I would love to see that.
I feel like maybe she needs to have something developed a little bit more in her character.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. So the kids, I think, Nakia, you're spot on with that. I think her and the kids would be a really great kind of twist for the show.
Yeah. Something unexpected.
Awesome. Yeah. So everybody, let us know what you guys thought of the episode. If you liked us, give us a like, give us a subscribe, subscribe to AfterBuzz. If you're listening to our podcast, give us a 5 stars because we love those 5 stars. Tweet at us. We love to tweet you guys back. I am Timothy Michael. You can find me everywhere at I am Timothy Mike. I'm gonna let my panel close out.
You can find me on all social media at Cristal823, and my name is Cristal McLaughlin.
You all can find me on Instagram at Louiza.Sharamatyan and on Twitter at Louiza Shar.
Hey guys, I'm Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
You guys, 2 episodes left. We will be back same time next week on Thursdays, 7:15 p.m. Happy International Women's Day, everybody. Woo! Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.